What do you do when a hunt is started? Do you freeze up standing there hoping the ghost doesn't get you? Or maybe you try with all your might, you run away, but the ghost catches you anyways. Learning how to survive hunts is a critical skill that's going to be the surefire way to make sure that you improve in Phasmophobia. I'm going to go over 5 common mistakes that I see new players make all the time when it comes to hunt, and so that way you can learn to avoid them and avoid dying and losing all of your items that you spent such a hard time farming money for. The first mistake that I see is players not carrying a smudge stick the later a match goes on. Smudge sticks are one of my favorite items in the game because they're really the best and only surefire way to make sure that you survive a hunt and can get to your hiding spot safely. So obviously there's no need to start out with a lighter and a smudge stick unless you're like wanting to play super safe, worried about a demon at all. But keep an eye on the sanity board, especially if you are playing lower difficulties where the sanity board is active, and keep an eye on the average sanity. So when should you actually carry the smudge stick? It's going to obviously depend on each game and the situation, but most ghosts will hunt around 50% sanity. So if you've started to gather evidence, and a lot of the ghosts you know will typically hunt around 50% sanity, typically around there, I may want to go ahead and carry a lighter and a smudge stick, or at least leave my smudge stick nearby in case the ghost does decide to hunt. But again, it's going to be different each time because if, for instance, you may have like an Onryo and a demon still available, those are going to be earlier hunting ghosts, so you may want to carry one sooner, so that way you can be more prepared in case the ghost does decide to hunt. Or if you're maybe thinking it could possibly be a Shade or a Deogen, ghosts that don't typically hunt till way lower sanity, you may not have to worry about carrying it as much. So just make sure that the later a match goes on, you do have that smudge stick readily nearby, because I know that that has saved me so much, especially being caught off guard. So the ghost is hunted, you were caught off guard, you smudged the ghost because you were carrying it, expecting it to hunt. Now what do? Well, it's going to fall into the next mistake that I see, and that is players not knowing where the best hiding spot is. And planning your hiding spot is going to be one of the first things that you want to do after you find the ghost room. If you're playing on lower difficulties, all the hiding spots are going to be open, so it's prime picking. Just pick whatever you're most comfortable with. I know when I first started playing, I wasn't really confident in my ability to close closet doors or lockers, so I wanted to go into hiding places that I didn't have to close any doors, such as in like on Tanglewood, the basement hiding spot with the board beside you, or next to the crib in the nursery. Now obviously if the ghost room is the nursery, then you're not going to be able to hide behind the crib hiding spot, but you can plan it out. But if you forget where your hiding spot is, or you're caught out in the open and you can't get there, what I've noticed that works for me is just going into a room and closing the door and hiding behind another object. I don't have stats to prove this or anything, but just from playing a lot, I've noticed that ghosts are less likely to go into rooms where doors are closed when they are hunting. Now obviously they still can go into those rooms, it just seems like it's less likely. So if you have watched a lot of my videos or even watched my live stream, which I do live stream on Twitch and sometimes on YouTube as well, if I am caught out in the open, I will go into a room and hide behind an object. And there's also good hiding spots with that, like the refrigerator on Ridgeview, or even in the nursery on Tanglewood across from the crib hiding spot is still a decent hiding spot. Also, like the hiding spot on Willow Street in the back left bedroom beside the desk, those are ones I can go to in a pinch, and the ghosts seem less likely to wander in there and find me. But this is stuff that I already have planned from playing a lot and knowing where I want to go and planning it out beforehand. So again, just plan knowing your hiding spot. Now, finding that hiding spot can really be a pain sometimes, especially if you're in the dark. And so a lot of players will leave their flashlights on to go find that hiding spot while the ghost is hunting. But this is going to fall into my next mistake that players make that gets themselves killed, and that is leaving electronic equipment on the hiding spot. So every ghost can sense the electronic equipment and will be attracted to it and can find you if you leave it on during a hunt. If you're playing against a yokai, the range is only going to be 2.5 meters, but for every other ghost, it's 7 meters. So again, the best way to avoid this happening and you getting lost and not able to find your way is just to light up the path to your hiding spot using either the lights inside of the house or using electronic equipment on the floor, as the ghosts are not attracted to those, other than the Raiju, of course. So if you are suspecting a Raiju, I wouldn't leave an electronic path lighting the way, because Raiju speed up around electronic equipment and it will hunt you down and kill you. If it is dark and you do need a flashlight to go to your hiding spot, at least turn off your flashlight before you get in the hiding spot. Also, for equipment such as the photo camera and the video camera that you can't turn off, you have to drop it or switch it out of your hand. Do not have any active electronic equipment in your hand while in your hiding spot, or the ghost will find you. Of course, hiding from a Deogen is also not going to be the smartest idea, because the Deogen will find you in your hiding spot whether you have electronic equipment or not. But there's actually a way to tell if it is a Deogen even if you are in a hiding spot, so you can't be caught off guard, and it is the next common mistake that I see players make. That is not listening to the ghost's footsteps while it is hunting. So I get it, getting hunted is super scary. You're constantly on edge about it when you first start playing, and you're worried about the hunt, you're worried about getting to your hiding spot safely, you're just worried about surviving. But just know this, if you got into your hiding spot fine, ghost did not see you, there's no electronic equipment on, you're going to be safe. Best practice is to start listening to the ghost footsteps, because a lot of ghosts give themselves away from their footstep speed while they're hunting. In fact, a third of the ghosts, you can tell which ghost it is just by the footsteps they make when they hunt. This is going to make you so much better at the game. It's a great way to mark off ghosts off the list if you do not have all the evidence. Now I'm going to go over all the examples of the ghosts that change speed when they're hunting. The Revenant, their footsteps are going to be really slow while you're hiding. It's going to sound like the ghost is moving super slow throughout the house. There's going to be long pauses between the footsteps. Unless the ghost has line of sight of you, then it's going to be super fast, which you should be able to see and hear, but you're probably going to end up dead, unfortunately. Take a listen. The Raiju will speed up around electronic equipment, then it will slow down as it gets out of range. So if you hear like the ghost is really fast at some points and then slows down, especially as you hear electronic equipment malfunctioning, you keep in mind that it could be a Raiju. Take a listen. To go along with the Raiju, Hantus are kind of similar, but only it has to do with coldness. In colder rooms, the Hantus will be really fast. As the rest of the places in the house warm up, the Hantu will just be normal speed. So if you also hear it speed up and slow down, and it's close to the ghost room that you hear that, or you hear it really fast at first when it hunts in the ghost room and then slows down afterwards, then it's probably going to be a Hantu. Now that is with the breaker on. If the breaker is off, the Hantu is going to be fast throughout the whole time. Take a listen. The Moroi will get faster the lower your sanity is. So if your sanity is at 0, the Moroi is going to be really fast. The Moroi is going to be a little bit slower if you are at 50% sanity. A neat trick with the Moroi that you can do, actually, if you have it available, is if you take a sanity pill while the ghost is hunting. So for instance, if you're at 0% sanity and the ghost is really fast, you can take a sanity pill and the footsteps will actually slow down in the middle of the hunt. The twins, depending on which one is hunting, will either be faster or slower. The way to do it is the slow twin, as we like to call it, is 90% ghost speed. So it's going to sound a little bit slower. And the fast twin will be 110% ghost speed. So a little bit faster. And this is really hard to catch, especially early on. And it's something I still struggle with, but I'm slowly improving on it. You're going to hear like, wait a minute, this sounds just a tiny bit slower. Or you're going to be like, oh, hey, maybe this sounds a little bit faster. But even if you're not sure, it's just something to keep in mind if you do think something sounds kind of funny about it. Take a listen. The Thaye is going to be super fast early on if it has not aged, and the more that it ages, it's going to slow down. Take a listen. The Deogen is going to be super fast at first, and then the closer it gets to you, it's going to go really slow. So if you do hear it go really fast throughout the house, and then you hear it slow down the closer it got to you, you definitely want to get out of your hiding spot and start trying to loop it and run away. Take a listen. Lastly, the mimic can obviously mimic all of these, so always keep that in mind, and you can try to verify whether or not it's going to be a mimic. Also, like I said, there's 33% of the ghosts that you can rule out just by ghost speed while it's hunting, but there's also other ghosts that give themselves away when they're hunting, and if you'd like me to go over all of those in a future video, comment down below and letting me know. So you have your smudge stick ready, your hiding spot picked out, you know how to get there safely with no electronics in your hand, and when you do get there, you're going to be listening for footsteps to figure out you can determine the ghost based on that. So what could be the possible downfall to all of this? Well, that is going to be not knowing when the hunt has started. A surefire way to know when a hunt has started is going to be to listen for the front door locking. If you hear that front door lock, you definitely want to start that whole plan to run and hide and possibly smudge the ghost if you are caught out. Of course, it's always better to be safe and sorry, even if you do think that it could be a ghost event. Last thing you want to do is just stay in there and let the ghost get to you and kill you just because you were like, oh, I thought it was a ghost event. But if you can avoid that happening, that is most important. So do you think you know the difference between a ghost event and a hunt? Click or tap the screen right now to put your knowledge to the test, or maybe learn something new. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you learned something new. Stay safe, happy hunting, and I will see you in the next one.